Sa pagsikat bagong umaga, mga matang iyong imulat na, bumangon sa mulat ng bagong pag-asa. Dapat bisig at magtulong-tulong na, taon tayong magkasama. Mga guro't magulang at eskwela, dala-dala ang daang patungo sa pagkakaisa. Tara na, sumama na, tayo na sa brigada at eskwela. Tara na, tayo na, tayo na't magbayanihan tungo sa maunlad na paaralan. Magbayanihan para sa kalidad na edukasyon. Tara na, sumama ka na, tayo na sa brigada at eskwela. Tara na, tayo na, hanggat magbayanihan tungo sa maunlad ng paaralan. Magbayanihan para sa kalidad na edukasyon. Buhayin ang halaman, kulayan ng mga pate, muling ibalik ang ganda, ibalik ang sigla. Magbayanihan, 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 tayo magkaisa sa darating na brigada at eskwela.
Magbayanihan na, magbayanihan na, oh. Bayanihan, pagtutulungan, walang kupas na kaugalian. Nagtagatibay, sinasabuhay, galak sa puso ay walang kapantay. Panahon na naman ang brigada, bigisin lakas at diwa. Tara na, brigada na, brigada, eskwela, magkaisa, sama-sama. Brigada, eskwela, salina mo ang barkada. Brigada, eskwela, kilos na ang bayanihan na. Ikaw ako, tayong lahat, hawak kamay, sabay-sabay, kapit-bisig, buong bayan. Tara na, kumilos na, tulong-tulong sa pagsulong, hatid na kalidad sa edukasyon. Sa kabataan, sila at tulong, kung maglasabay na aahon. Panahon na naman ang brigada, bigisin lakas at diwa. Tara na, brigada na, brigada, eskwela, kilos na ang bayanihan na. Magbayanihan na, sabay-sabay, magbayanihan na.
Hello and good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, Ruizian. Welcome to our 9th webcast entitled E-Learning Stress Management for Student, Teachers, and Parents. So this is our 9th webcast. We've come a long way, and we thank you for your continued support. The success of the series of the webcast is because of your support, and we greatly appreciate the time you took in watching, supporting all the series of the webcast. To those who have just joined us in the webcast, please like and follow The San Lorenzo Ruiz Senior High School Adopt a School program, Brigada Escuela, for more updates on our upcoming projects and activities. So to formally begin, may I call Ms. Rona Joy Corpus for the prayer.
Let us pray. Heavenly Father, our healer and salvation, we praise and glorify you. We thank you for this wonderful day that you have given us today to once again show how grateful we are in showing how you work in each of us. We thank you for your good health in the midst of COVID-19 pandemic. We thank you for this food in our table in the midst of scars and flu. We thank you for the peace and safety in our home and community in the midst of chaos and despair. We thank you for your love that is what was and will forever be to us until then. Once again, make us worthy of these blessings despite our sins, be it known or unknown to us. Forgive us, Lord. Today, continue to bless us with our presence in the last leg of our Brigada Escuela webinar series. We ask for your guidance and solutions to the tasks ahead of us. We lay down our plans as a checklist, but it's in your power to grant and fulfill each steps and accomplish peace. Please send your grace to all the people who have worked to the success of these SOPs for the school year 2022. Give them the necessary knowledge, skills, and attitude despite the barriers set for them by working in the new normal. We also pray for our colleagues and loved ones for we may have lost physically, we will not leave this same prayer to the success of this ending war. Bless them and let this be a reminder that the light they lit will forever burn and that San Lorenzo Ruiz Senior High School will continue to stand not just as constitution but as one family. This we pray to you, our Father, through your Son, Jesus Christ, and the guidance of the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Ma'am Fam, nakamute po kayo.
Thank you, Ma'am Rona. To give his opening remarks, may I call our language group head, Master Teacher 2, Sir Julius Isar Napalyatan.
Okay, so to our school head, Mr. Dennis T. Alex, our distinguished speaker for today, who will be introduced to you later, my co-teachers, parents, students, the Ruizian community, good afternoon. It is my pleasure to welcome all of you in today's timely and significant webinar. During this time of pandemic, almost everything stopped, like the public transportation, many business establishments closed, many people lost their jobs, mass gathering is not allowed, and the schools are shut down. However, the Department of Education believes that education or learning must continue. From the central office to the division offices up to each school, the Department of Education does not stop confronting the many issues brought by this COVID-19 pandemic. It is also evident that the schools and the local government units, lalo na ang ating Mayor Vico Soto, work hand in hand to address the challenges in education amidst the pandemic. The department has come up with various learning modalities, and one of which is e-learning. But this modality also worries both parents and teachers. Ang dami nilang iniisip na dahilan na baka hindi ito uubra at talaga namang nagbibigay sa kanila ng stress. Like not everybody has gadgets such as laptops and mobile phones. stable internet connection, that many students find it difficult to understand their lessons in face-to-face learning with their teachers, what more if it is through e-learning. Ilan lamang ito sa mga nagbibigay ng stress, hindi lamang sa mga mag-aaral, kundi pati na rin sa mga magulang. And today, we are so blessed because our distinguished guest speaker will give us a talk on how to manage stress that we face in e-learning. Kaya I encourage everyone to be with us up to the end of this webinar. Listen, participate, and ask questions if you have any, para hindi po masayang ang webinar na ito sa pangunguna ng ating Brigada Eskwela team ng ating paaralan. In advance, and in behalf of San Lorenzo Ruiz Senior High School, I would like to thank our speaker and all the participants in today's webinar. Once again, a pleasant afternoon and thank you.
Thank you, Sir Napalyatan. Doing virtual studies or online learning, just like what Sir Napalyatan had mentioned, can mount to real pressure and ultimately lead to and cause stress. There are some factors that can make the situation worse, such as poor internet connection, lack of focus, too many distractions. And to help us recognize what these stress are and help us build resilience, let us listen to our speaker for today. And with that, may I call Mr. Romel Ginaballe to introduce our speaker for today's webcast.
Ayan, magandang buhay sa lahat. So it is my honor to introduce to you our distinguished speaker for this afternoon, the Ruizian Webcast number 9. He is a faculty of Xavier School of San Juan, katulad ng ating speaker, last Ruizian Webcast number 7. He is a graduate of arts in philosophy and Master of Arts in Education. He is also an Apple Learning Leader and Google Certified Educator. Without further ado, alam ko lahat tayo ay excited na sa ating mga matutunan. Bigyan natin ng virtual clap ang ating speaker ngayong hapon, Mr. Angelo B. Mallari. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon po. Good afternoon, everyone. So thank you po for giving me this opportunity to share with you how we can further manage our stress, especially in this time of the pandemic. So I would like to share my screen, and hopefully what I will be sharing would be of help to not only our students, but also for teachers and our parents as well. Okay. So again, the title of my talk will be E-Learning Stress Management for Students, Teachers, and Parents. So first, before we formally begin on our discussion, I would like to know, how are you? And at times they say asking the question, how are you, is often used so many times that it loses its value. So I would also like to ask you, what is your current state of mind, especially now that we are in the pandemic, especially now that we are about to begin, you're about to begin your journey towards the new school year. And what is your most dominant feeling? So here I have a simple activity. I want you to go to menti.com and then type in this code 4697087. If you have a gadget with you and you have a QR code reader, you can also scan the QR code in order for you to be led to that particular site. So I'll be giving about 1 minute maybe to look into and type in. It's good to start a webinar, a discussion with our feelings, our current state of mind. Okay, so I'll be sharing this, and then in a while I'll be sharing the results also of your answers or your feelings so far, so that we have a good grasp of what our current state now and our dominant feelings. Okay, I'll be giving around a minute to do this one. Okay, so hope you can participate because it is valuable for us to recognize our feelings and also to recognize our thoughts, especially in this time of the pandemic. Okay, I'll stop sharing first and share hopefully the results already in there. Okay. I hope you can see my screen. Okay, so there are some already shared there. Oh, sorry. Okay, some already shared. They are calm. Some are lazy. Okay, they're thanking God. Okay, for this opportunity. Mabeauty at mahandsams. Okay, so very good. Interesting. Worried. Okay, calm, lazy, fine, tired. Okay, good. Okay, happy. So far, for those who have shared their insights, again, you can share it. Go to menti.com. The code is 4697087. Okay. Based on those who have shared, many, at least, okay, have expressed that they are happy. Okay. The general feeling is happiness. There are some who is sad, okay, depressed, okay, worried, and it's valid. Again, later on, I will be explaining that our feelings as well as our thoughts at this time of the pandemic is actually valid. Okay, so you can keep the results coming in a while. Okay, but I'll be there. Okay, so 9 have shared already. So happy. I think that's the most dominant feeling. Okay, so that's a good thing. At least in general, we can see that everyone is happy, although there are sadness, there are challenges along the way. And it's okay. It's okay that we are being challenged in this particular time. Okay, there's some. You can also put it in the comment box if you want to. Okay, but I hope to hear your dominant feelings, okay, as we move forward. Okay, so let's begin. Okay, so e-learning stress management for students, teachers, and parents. Instead of starting with what is stress, I think everyone knows that. I'll start with this question. Why do we need to manage stress? I think it's good to realize that the reason behind, okay, our wanting to manage our stress. Okay. First, I don't know if you have heard this particular word, the VUCA world. We are living in a VUCA world. But what does VUCA mean? Okay. VUCA stands for V, volatile, which is with unstable challenges. So we are living in a world where there are many changes and many transitions. It's also uncertain with unknown outcomes. There are many unpredictable events, unpredictable things that is happening in our world today. It's also complex with many interconnected parts. So sometimes there's no black and white, mostly gray. Okay, we are in that particular world. We're living that particular world. And A is ambiguous. It lacks that clarity that many of us have wanted to. So this is our current state. We are living in a VUCA world. And then the next thing that happened is coronavirus. A part of being in the VUCA world, we experience uncertainty. We experience things that we have not experienced before. And one of them is the coronavirus pandemic. And if you try to think about it, currently we are almost 170K already or tested positive with 56,000 active cases of coronavirus. Whether you're asymptomatic, whether you have mild or you have severe cases, but imagine there are already 56,000 who are already infected by this disease, in spite of the challenges and in spite of the restrictions that were given by the government. So this also add on to our feelings, okay, of maybe stress, of uncertainty, of anxiety. And because of this, we are also trying to embrace the new normal. Okay, although there are some contention with regards to whether we want a new normal or we want the old normal, or we want, hopefully we are looking to a better normal. And that also is part of it is also learning in this new setup, in this new normal. And that leads us to different modalities. And I think for us, it's e-learning, online learning, or distant learning. For some who might have challenges with regards to the use of the gadgets, the use of devices, but I think luckily for Pasig, okay, for the city of Pasig, your Mayor Vico, have tried really his best to uh, focus on the education, and will be delivering later on. I don't know if it's delivered now, but it will be delivered later on, the different devices that the students will be needing for their education. So this, if I'm adding it up, the VUCA world, coronavirus, the new normal, this particular situation, many of us are anxious at this point. Many of us are afraid, or many of us are lost. Okay, because we don't know. Okay? We don't know where we are. We don't know where we will go. What we know is that in this particular situation, this is what we are experiencing. And these three, along with the other feelings that you have expressed, can be very stressful. That's the reality. And we acknowledge that. It can be very stressful for each and every one of us. Not only for our students, but also for our teachers, for our parents, or even for our administrators. Okay? However, it's good to identify our stressor. Identify your stressor, because these stressors are your triggers. It triggers you to feel this way. And we also have to acknowledge that there are good stress, which is good for your well-being, but there are also bad stress. And I think this is what we wanted to eliminate. In this particular talk, we're trying to figure out how we can manage our stress, especially when this stress is eating up our well-being already. So if this is the case, then I think we really have to manage our stress. If these are good stress, then it will make us motivated. It can make us excited. It is something vital for our life. But when we are already experiencing bad stress, then it leads us towards not being productive, or even sadly burnout. Okay, so that is what we want. We want to address the stress, which is not a good thing. Okay, so that we'll be able to work and study and learn in this kind of situation, this kind of setup. So now, because we are focusing on our well-being, after looking into why, after looking at the reason why we want to manage our stress, it's good to look into how. So how can we manage our stress? So here I'll be giving some tips, okay, some ways that we can focus on, some things that we can practice so that we'll be able to handle our stress. Because in reality, this is really a stressful situation. And if you are not feeling stress, I think you have to also look into yourself. Why are you not feeling stress in this point? Okay, because this situation is giving us this particular stress, this particular anxiety, this particular ambiguity. So we have to address that. So how can we do this? So I'll be giving some general tips on how we can manage our stress, but later on I'll also be looking into the different sectors, the different stakeholders, the students, the teachers, and the parents. But if you're thinking about it later on, you might find yourself, those tips can also be applied to us, even if we are not teachers, even if we are not parents. The students can also learn in the way, in the tips that we'll be giving as we manage our stress. So first and foremost, I think this is a buzzword. I don't know if you've heard this. This is a buzzword, a battle cry, recently, because of the pandemic. Because of the pandemic, many of our educators are working to this Maslow before Bloom's. If you know Maslow, so Maslow is Abraham Maslow. It pertains to Abraham Maslow, and he advocates the hierarchy of needs, where he focuses on the physiological need, safety, love and belonging, esteem and self-actualization. These are the needs of people, of each person, not only our students, not only our teachers, not only parents, but each and every one of us. We want to have a safe space. We want to feel love. We want to achieve something. So Maslow have identified five, the hierarchy of needs, with physiological as the lowest and self-actualization as the highest. And then, of course, I think for teachers, we are familiar with Bloom's. Okay, Benjamin Bloom, who shared about the taxonomy of educational objectives. This is what we want our students to achieve. Okay, skills to remember. They were able to understand our lesson. They're able to apply, analyze, evaluate, and even create their learning. But in this particular situation, okay, many of our educators are fighting this cause. Please, they said, focus on Maslow before Bloom's. And I think the government is one in this particular situation, in this particular cry. I think in the city of Pasig, many, one of the things that Mayor Vico have really focused on is the needs of people, the needs of people before the formal education. We're not saying, again, we're not saying that the formal education should be taken aback, but we have to make sure that the needs of people, especially of our students, are met. Because imagine if students' needs will not be met and we just continue on our education, retaining our lesson, or even achieving success to our education might not be possible because we did not meet the very essentials. So again, here focuses on the essentials, focus on safety before the personal education. And I think Pasig, the city of Pasig, and I think most of the institution and DepEd have recognizes this, that there's a need for us to make sure that before we formally begin our discussion, our lesson, our needs are met. Okay, that's the first one. The second one is to look at the context. I think this is one thing that many of us often neglect. Meeting the people where they are. We have to consider where they are, where they're coming from. And this is not only for our students, for our teachers, but also for our parents. Where are they coming from? It's good to know where our students, where our teachers, where our parents are coming from. So it's good to look into the context. If we want to manage our stress, we want to see what is happening to each and every one of us. It is to understand, first and foremost, that we are also human. Okay? We are human. That's why it's important to look into the context of people. Third, okay, in this particular situation, in this particular setup, it's good to build relationships, to build connections, human connections, especially for those who will be embarking in the online learning. It's very different. I can attest to that. In Xavier, we already started our online distance learning. And it's very different because it's like talking in front of the computer without you really acknowledging, or without you really having a way to say if students are learning, because you cannot see them, because maybe the platform wasn't able to allow you, or because their reactions might not be really that vivid. And that's the reality. But even if we are in this virtual world, we have to build relationship. Maybe some of you will say, how can we build authentic relationship? I think we can. There are ways for us to really build connection, to really build relationship with one another. Okay? And we have to acknowledge that we are not alone. In this particular situation, we are not alone. We hold hands together, we journey together, parents, teachers, and students, as we walk and embark in this new normal. Fourth is, of course, self-care. I think that is one thing that we have to ensure and to make sure in this time of the pandemic. To manage our stress, we have to self-care. And I have placed here two things: toxic productivity and toxic positivity. These are some of the buzzwords that we hear, especially in this time of the pandemic. Many of us, because of this situation, are trying to be positive. There's nothing wrong with that. Trying to be positive despite of what is happening. But if that becomes so toxic that we just focus on the positive and not acknowledge what we are experiencing, that's what we call toxic positivity. And that is not good, because we're trying to mask, okay, our feelings of sadness, our feelings of depression, our feelings of anxiety, so forth and so on. Positivity try to make us feel good. But if we don't acknowledge the other side of our feelings, the negative feelings, you may say, then we're just hiding the truth. So we have to fight toxic positivity. Along with it, we also have to fight toxic productivity. Because many of us, especially now in this time of pandemic, feels that we have so much time. And people may say that, well, I can do everything that I want. There's nothing to do. So I'll try to be productive. Good, if that is the case. If you want to be productive, good. But sometimes, if we just feel that others should be productive and should not rest and should not take care of themselves and should not slow down, then I think that is something toxic. So self-care, it is okay to slow down. It is okay to stop, to breathe, to be mindful of what is happening. It is also okay for us to rest. Okay? It's not a sin to rest. We need that. Now, we cannot give what we don't have. If we're not fully rested, if we don't care for ourselves, we cannot give, okay, to our students. Next is one of the essential things for us to be able to manage our stress is to acknowledge these feelings. The reality is that we need to acknowledge and name our feelings. We don't need to mask them. Many of us are afraid to acknowledge some of our feelings because we feel that they should not be felt. Tiredness should not be felt. Stress should not be felt. Anger should not be felt. But in reality, these are valid feelings. These are necessary feelings. It's different, of course, when you act upon that particular feeling. If you're angry and then you punch someone in the face, I think that is different from acknowledging. You can acknowledge that this is your feeling, this is what you're going through, and from there, you're able to do something about it. Okay? So being vulnerable, that's part of it. Being vulnerable with our feelings. Okay? This one, I hope, especially for teachers, for administrators, for parents as well, and maybe for our students as well, please focus on support more than evaluate. Many of us, okay, especially for teachers, okay, we are being evaluated by our actions, our way of teaching, our way of product, outcome-based. I think many of us are in that particular situation. We are outcome-based. If our outcome doesn't give us this particular result, then we fail. But in this time of pandemic, I think support is more important than just mere evaluation. Support helps teachers, helps students, helps parents to be encouraged to do something new, to try, to explore, to experiment. They say this time of the pandemic, yes, it may have brought about negative things, but it also have brought about some opportunities. And one of our opportunities to explore, is to try something new, is for us to be able to uh, look into successes, little successes in the way that we do. It's more than the success or failures that our teachers need, our parents need, our students need. We need to support each other. And then the last one, imperfect progress. I think I want to highlight this because there is a stigma that failure is something that is not good. If you failed, then you're worthless. But this time of pandemic, it gives us an opportunity to see that all of us are struggling, all of us have imperfections, all of us will keep on trying. And if we fail, hopefully we see not the failure, but our progress. If it doesn't work in this particular, then we do something else. If it doesn't work, then we try to progress from that. Break the stigma of failure. Because if we don't break the stigma of failure, then people, then students, then teachers and parents will just be in their comfort zone. They will not think within the box or even outside the box. Please take note also that crisis, what we are experiencing, can bring forth innovation. So even if we're not aiming for perfection, we're aiming for progress. Okay? It is not, but not yet. Okay? So I hope those general tips for us to be able to address this particular stress, to manage our stress, can help us. Many of them are changing perspective, changing mindset. Okay? So now I'll try to give in some tips specifically for each stakeholders. So let's start with the students. So for students, as you embark your e-learning soon, okay, these are the things that hopefully you'll be able to, will help you in your stress management. First, give value to reflection. This is a time for us to reflect. This is a time for us to make sense of what is happening, to make sense of what our learning is. Okay? So please find time to reflect. It is very important for us to have that introspection, to look into ourselves. Why am I feeling this? Why am I thinking this? What does my experience mean? Especially in this time of pandemic. So please have time to reflect. Okay? Second is to build a culture of inquiry and dialogue. Do not be afraid to ask. Do not be afraid to interact with your teachers, with your parents. This is a time for us to discuss. This is a time for us to talk. This is a time for us to reach out. And please reach out to the proper people. Okay? I know many of us are close to our friends. Many of us are close to our barcadas, our cliques. But it's also good to build that kind of relationship, build that kind of culture, okay, with our parents and with our teachers, because they can also help you. Third, try to learn something new. Again, if there's one thing that we can learn from this pandemic, it is that it gives us an opportunity to learn something and try to maximize it. Learn something new, especially that you will be embarking in the e-learning. Then do not hesitate to try. Do not hesitate to be creative. Do not be afraid to learn new things. And fourth is, as you do these things, do not stop enjoying. If you love what you do, if you find happiness in what you're doing, then okay, you will learn more from it. Try to enjoy. Try to embrace this particular uh, changes, this particular challenges. Enjoy learning. Enjoy the situation. We're not saying that we want this situation to last. We want it to end, of course, but let's take this opportunity to maximize what we can and try to find our happiness and enjoyment, encouragement and excitement, engagement in this new platform. Whatever platform, whatever modality of learning that you will be encountering later on. Okay, for our teachers, okay, these are the things that, again, I would like to share to you. Again, many of these tips can also be applied to our parents and to our students as well. First is it's okay to not be okay. It's okay to not be okay. Many of us might feel guilty that I should not be feeling this. I should not feel tired. This is my passion. But it's okay to not be okay. I'm not promoting the Korean novela entitled with this also, but they say it's a good Korean novela. But that's the reality. It's okay to not be okay. Okay? If you're tired, acknowledge it. If you need rest, do it. If you're frustrated, accept that. It's okay. But of course, we should not just stay on that particular situation. Second, I think this is more for the way we're teaching. Try to focus on the relevance of what we're teaching, especially in this day and age. I know DepEd have already shared the MELC. Yes, MELC, the MELCs. Okay. But also try to look into what our students need. Okay. I think, again, Maslow before Bloom's. If you feel that your students need more of one thing, then try to address that. But also try to be realistic. Okay? We cannot just put on to our students task over task over task and overwhelm them. And we will be overwhelmed as well. Try to be realistic. If you do on-screen tasks, we also have to look into the on task because there are students who might do the task even without their screens. So focus on the on task, that they're on task even if they're not in front of the computer, they're not in front of their gadgets. And also, please avoid the one size fits all. Okay, I know because of the standardized test, but I think in this time and age, especially in this moment, let us focus more on what will help our students. This is a word that we usually have and we usually utter in Xavier, cura personalis, personal care. Let's show empathy to our students as well to our parents and as well to our co-teachers. I think in this time, we have to be more empathetic, not sympathetic, but empathetic, to feel their needs, to feel them without judgment. Okay? To acknowledge their feelings without judging them for those. Another is openness. This is one thing that is a challenge for teachers like us because we're used to the face-to-face interaction. Having this particular setup can dishearten us at times, can challenge us. But be open to the change and try to adapt. It's not easy. I'm not saying that it will be easy. It will not be easy. But if you have the openness, if we instill that openness to us, to our co-teachers, to our parents, to our students, then they will to be open and adapt and to these particular changes. I think this is the last one and also a difficult one for teachers and maybe for parents as well is to let go of control. Many of our stress comes from our ability to not control things. In the classroom, we can control the noise level. In the classroom, We can control the way our students will answer or the way they would be receiving our instruction. But in this particular setup, it's good to let go of what you cannot control. What you can control, look into it. And what you can control, your feelings, your emotions, your reactions. But other than that, the way the students react to your lesson, the way the students receive your lessons, it's out of our control. And sometimes we have to let go of that control in order for us to be able to manage our stress. Okay? This is now for our parents because I am a parent myself. I have a grade 1 son now, and soon also my daughter, my little daughter, will go to school, and both of them have started online, will start online learning. And this is a reminder for parents, first, so that you will not be stressed, please focus on guiding and supporting our students. In that sense, again, I would like to reiterate, we are not here to learn the content of what they are learning. We're not here to answer their tests, to answer their learning or questions in their learning. Of course, we can support them by giving them time, giving them the space to learn, trying to guide them in a way that they will really learn and they will not be distracted. Okay? But hopefully, we're not here to make sure that we also learn the content. It's not our task to teach, okay, our students, our children. We're here to guide them and support them. Let them do the learning. So again, I hope that all parents would focus on that, guiding and supporting. We're not here to learn the content. Of course, it's good that we learn the content, but it's not our task to learn. It's good that our sons, our daughters will be able to ask us questions, but that is not our primary task. We are here to guide and support. Because second is for us to trust them. It is important to trust our learners. Okay, it will be difficult because it's something new, but as parents, I think it's part that it is important that we start trusting our learners, that they will learn, okay, because this is a way for us to ensure that they will grow as well. Learning, okay, on their own, learning, especially that the senior high school, I think parents now, you just have to give the trust. Even also teachers, you have to give the trust to your students. Okay. And lastly, let's work together. We are here to partner. The school and the home are partners. We are not competitors. We're not here to compete for one another. We're here to work together. Okay. That's why there are some who may say, oh, it's okay maybe to not let my children to go to school because maybe it's just 1 year and maybe I don't know if they will learn. Okay, but I assure you, the school, our teachers are trying their best to ensure that learning will happen. And if there is a model that we can see, yes, we can give the content to our learners, to our children, but we will not have the coach, the proper coach, which is our teachers and the community. Many of our students, what are they feeling? They miss school. They miss their friends. And the school provides that avenue for community, for relationship. Okay? So now, before I conclude, okay, as a teacher, because I'm a teacher, I want to hear your reactions. I want to hear your takeaways so far in our discussion. So in your FB, just put a comment, okay? What are your takeaways? What are your insights? What are your realizations? Okay, so I'll stop sharing first. so that I'll be able to see, hopefully I'll be able to see your comments in Facebook. Okay, so I hope that's clear. So please share your insights. Okay, so again, put your insights on your FB as a comment. Okay, so later I'll be reading them through. Okay, so this is to conclude our discussion. I would like to start with what DepEd have shared last May 6, 2020. There will be birth pains in this path, this new endeavor, this new setup. But we look forward in having our teachers, our parents, our learners, and our communities as allies who will work with us to provide valuable insights and contributions. We are here together. We are here going to this new environment, going to this new normal together. It will have pains, it will have challenges, it will have frustrations, anxieties, disheartening events and experiences. But this is necessary for us to be able to learn, for us to be able to address, okay, what we can give to our learners, what we can give to our students. Second, because I am a CLE teacher, a Christian life educator, I would like to say the words of Jesus. This is the words of Jesus during the time when they were treading the stormy sea. He said to his disciples, "Do not be afraid." I know it's easier said than done. Do not be afraid. It's easier said than done. And many of us may be afraid, still afraid, even if. And so I think the last one, is to embrace the vulnerability. Okay? Being vulnerable doesn't take away our fear, but it gives us the courage to walk despite our fears. So let us embrace this vulnerability that we are experiencing now. To help us to our stress, to manage our stress, we have to be vulnerable. Walk in courage, even with fear. To walk, okay, courageously, even if we are afraid. And as in the prayer of Father Pedro Arupe, a Jesuit, he says this, and I think this is something that we can apply to each and every one. Fall in love, stay in love, and it will decide everything. Fall in love, stay in love, and it will decide everything. If we do things with love, it will decide everything. And so, as we approach this new learning, this new environment, let us approach everything with love. Let us approach everything with love. Okay? So, thank you for the opportunity that you have given me to share with you. I hope you've learned something, okay, from our discussion. So, if you want to read more, okay, I have also created my blog because, as I mentioned, one of the things that we can do to ease our stress, to manage our stress, is to reflect. So, if you want to go to this particular website, okay, it's where my blog is. So, you can also visit that. So, myinsightjob.wordpress.com. Okay, so thank you once again, and I hope I have given something and shared something for you to be able to manage your stress, okay, as we go through this new normal. Thank you. Good afternoon.
So there you go. Thank you very much, Sir Angelo, for providing us very useful and interesting information, tips on managing e-learning stress. No? Indeed, we never get wrong in love. I like that last part.
Yeah.
So thank you, sir. So with that, we will go ahead and take some time for the questions. I would be calling one teacher of San Lorenzo Ruiz for his question. May I call Sir Resi Ramos for your question?
Agad, for real. Ma'am, parang may question po ng parents sa baba. Nice na natin. Parang maganda yung question ni Mami. Ay, basa ko.
You go ahead, sir.
Ako na babasa.
You go ahead, sir, first. Your question. We'll read the question deep.
Kasi, ako muna magtatanong. Sige, sir. Sir, kasi may mainly mga workers ang concern natin. No? Narinig ba ako, sir? Audible ba?
Yes, sir.
Yes po.
Paano po kaya natin i-approach yung mga taong feeling natin is hindi nila kayang gawin yung bagay, yung trabaho. Like, nagre-resort na lang tayo sa, sige, baka hindi niya magawa yan, ako na lang gagawa. Parang, doon na lang tayo kakapit sa baka hindi niya magawa yan. So ako na lang. Kasi yun yung pinapakita niya sa atin na hanggang dito, parang parang kino-confine. Let's say, meron ako, nag-online teaching kasi ako, sir.
Yes.
Meron ako mga office, meron kaming mga kasama sa trabaho na tinatanggal, hindi talagang tinatanggal na. Kasi ang kaso nila is hindi daw nila kayang gawin yung task na to. So, ang ginagawa, kumbaga parang sub-teacher ang gagawa. Yung parang gano'n, i-resort na lang. Hanggang sa masanay na lang sila ng masanay na hindi nila ginagawa yung mga task na to. Binibigay na lang sa iba. Paano po kaya natin, kasi ang nangyayari is tinatanggal na lang agad sila instead of kausapin. Paano po kita mga Chinese kasi, sir, parang sa kanila very valuable ang oras. Ayaw talaga nila mag-aksaya ng oras tsaka panahon sa mga ganitong klase ng employee. But still, since tayo parang masyado tayong kapit sa mga kasama nating kapwa Pilipino. Gusto rin natin bigyan ng boses yung mga Pilipino kung bakit hindi nila nagagawa itong mga task.
Siguro po sa akin, ayan. One thing that we can do in that particular situation is siguro po one, of course, I've shared about context. It's something that is necessary for us to know where they're coming from. Not only the teachers, but also, I would presume it's the administrators that we're looking into. We have to look into their context. Why is this happening? Second one is to have that dialogue. I hope that will be something that will help not only the teachers and the workers to be open to their concerns, but it's a challenge because in a dialogue, you're trying to understand where they're coming from, but if they are close-minded, we can't do anything about that. That's a difficulty. The third one that I think would help is to create a community of teachers to help one another. I think in this time of pandemic, there will be some teachers who will feel that they can't do this because maybe they are not used to technology. Maybe they are not so keen to this one. Okay, that's where teacher support, that's where teacher groups will come in. They will be supported. Hopefully, they will support each other as they move forward. And lastly, to just add, modeling is also one way of trying to encourage those teachers to try. Sometimes it's easier for us to say, or to just put them into that particular situation, say, oh, bahala ka na. Okay? But it's also modeling. It's also, again, the support is necessary for each and everyone, not only for our students, but also for our teachers. And I think, hopefully, the group that you have, the teachers that you have, will support each other in order for you to be able to accomplish. Of course, what we don't want is that they will just end depending. That's why the teacher support will also be a way for them to learn. Parang itong magiging system nila, ang ecosystem of helping each other, of guiding each other to that particular work. Yan po.
Thank you, sir.
Okay po.
Thank you very much, Sir Resty. We have also a question here from Ma'am Mary Grace Murillo, a parent.
Yes.
Good afternoon po sa lahat. I have one concern po. How about po sa mga parents na uneducated po or hindi nakapag-aral? How can you help their children with the parents that cannot help them about their studies?
Okay. Again, isa po sa mga na I'm trying to stress is to give them the support, the guidance that we can as parents. Okay? Yes, it may be challenging for us if hindi po natin alam ng content. Pero just to assure you po, as parents, it is not our task to actually master the content of the studies of what our children are studying. It is more of the support, to give them the support, to give them the encouragement, to give them the guidance that they need in order for them to be able to address and learn amongst themselves. Of course, mas maganda pa rin po na masubaybayan natin sila. If you have time, if you have the time and the resources to learn with your son, with your daughter, then okay, do so. But hindi po yun ang primary task po natin as parents. Ako po, as a parent myself, I can see that in my child. Sometimes my child struggles with his studies because it's something new. Online, sometimes he looks at me pag klase and he asks, parang he's trying to look for an answer from me. But sometimes you don't need to supply the answer. You just need to encourage them. Yes, you can. Kaya mo yan. What do you think? Okay? Based on what you have learned, how will you respond to that? So, challenging po talaga that many of our parents might be uneducated, but it should not hinder us as parents to help our children in that particular aspect. So, provide the guidance, provide support, trust that our children will be able to do what they can and learn on their own, and also a way for us to work with the school. So ask the school what you can do, okay, in that particular aspect. I hope I've answered for the question.
Thank you, sir. So another question po from another parent, from Ma'am Alicia Abello. Paano magsusuporta ang magulang at mag-aaral kung pareho nilang slow learners?
Okay po. With regards to that po, kaya po mahalaga yung partnership. I think that's where the school and the home partnership is very valuable, because if you're thinking about it, it's the school. The school can provide actually not only the content, not only the subject matter, what they need to learn, but they also have the coach, they also have the teachers who will help them in their education, and they have the community. Okay? So, yes, maaari pong challenging yan sa atin kasi nga, if the parents and the children medyo slow learner tayo kasi hirapan tayo mag-grasp or masyado nang mataas nung mga kailangang aralin. So, dyan po papasok yung partnership ng school. So, you can go to the school and ask for help. Ask for maybe, I think the school naman po natin will be able to remediate and can help assist in whatever learning thing that we can give to our learners. So support and guidance po talaga.
So from Sir Romel Avalle, the question is, how can we integrate child protection po during e-learning in the midst of this new movement?
Ayun. With regards to the child protection, I think we have one thing that we try to really inculcate, hopefully, is the digital citizenship, which is to be able to be responsible online. And when our students are responsible online, okay, then we can already address that particular protection. Hopefully, hopefully we can address that child protection, because if our students know how to use properly the gadget and how to react properly online, then we can help them address concerns that they might have encountered. And also, of course, in terms of one of the things that is very challenging in this particular aspect is security. And I hope that the school will also invest on learning management system, or ways on how they can really protect the child's information. For our children, for our students, again, it's more of digital citizenship. Learn when to give your important details and when not to give them. Like, and also be mindful of what you are posting online, because the reality, even if you delete those, once you post something, it's there in the internet forever. Okay, the people can go through it. They have ways to navigate that, even if you delete that particular uh, part of that particular post, or that particular insight that you might have, or pictures, so forth and so on. So be careful also with what we will be posting online, and I hope that helps in our protection as well.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. And thank you for the question, Ma'am Abelio and Ma'am Murillo and Sir Ramos and Sir Atali. So moving forward, may I call again Mr. Romel de Navalle to award the Certificate of Recognition to the Sir Romel.
Hi! Isang maulan na hapon sa lahat. So, bago ko i-award ang ating certificate, nais ko munang magpasalamat sa ating guest speaker ngayong hapon na ito, Sir Angelo Mallari. Maraming salamat po. Napakarami na naman naming napulot ng mga tips on how to handle stress, especially sa part ng students, ng teachers, and ng parents. So, let me read the citation for the Certificate of Appreciation. Ayan. So, Republic of the Philippines Department of Education, Schools Division of Pasig City, San Lorenzo Ruiz Senior High School, Calinsabay Street, Karangalan Village, Manggahan, Pasig City, awards this Certificate of Appreciation to our guest speaker, Mr. Angelo B. Mallari, for sharing his valuable time and expertise as speaker on the topic e-learning stress management for students, teachers, and parents during the Ruizian Webcast August 19, 2020 episode in celebration of Brigada Eskwela Oplan Balik Eskwela 2020 with the theme Pagpapanatili ng Bayanihan tungo sa kalidad na edukasyon para sa kabataan, given this 19th of August 2020 in Pasig City, Philippines. Signed by yours truly, the Brigada Eskwela Coordinator, Mr. Romel John L. Aballe, and our very supportive and generous Principal 2 School Head, Mr. Dennis T. Alex. Once again, Sir Angelo B. Mallari, maraming salamat po.
Salamat din po. Salamat po sa opportunity.
Ma'am Fam, nakamute po ata kayo ulit.
Okay, so there.
Ayan.
So a while ago, sir asked for a takeaway, diba? An insight. And here is Gail Andrea Fortarum from Humanities and Social Science to give her insight or takeaway from the topic e-learning stress management.
Magandang hapon po sa inyong lahat, especially to viewers, students, parents, and teachers. Ako po si Gil Andre Fontaron from 12 VMS02. Unang-una po, maraming salamat po, Sir Angelo, sa pag-share po ng very informative and helpful talk about po sa pagmamanage ng stress namin ngayon sa e-learning or sa bagong normal na pag-aaral. I know this will be a very helpful guide to us since nagbigay po siya ng tips and guides on how to manage stress, lalong-lalo na po sa mga students, parents, and of course, teachers. Dahil po, sa panahon ngayon, support system is very, very important. Dahil nga po, hindi po tayo sanay sa bagong pamamaraan ng pag-aaral na ito. That's why we need every help that we can gather and we can use. Kasi po, kung hindi po natin siya na-handle ng maayos, pwede po siyang mag-uwi sa stress, which is our topic right now. Then, pwede po siyang mapunta sa overthinking and then depression na hindi po talaga healthy sa ating mental health. So, let's just be calm, be optimistic, and don't push ourselves to the limits. And remember, face your stress, then overcome it. That would be all. Maraming salamat po. Ay! Pwede pong mag-shoutout.
Hindi ka naman yung schedule ngayon yan eh.
Okay.
Ma'am, pwede pong mag-shoutout.
Okay, go ahead.
Shoutout po sa mga nanonood na Yums. Si Fonseca po at saka si Dailo. Nagpapa-shoutout po sila.
Okay, so thank you very much. Thank you very much, Gail. Another insight from a parent, a PTA officer. May I call in Mrs. Elizabeth Valdos?
Ma'am, parang wala po siya. Wala po siya dito sa wala sa box.
Okay. All right. How about Ma'am Melanie Hernandez? Is Ma'am Melanie here already? Ayan.
So congratulations po for a very comprehensive discussion. Actually, I've learned 3 A's from your discussion. Yung una ay you have to accept what the situation is. Pag na-accept mo yung situation mo, you will be able to think of the appropriate solution. Thus, you have to act. Pag nag-act ka, dapat you have to acknowledge. So that's another A. Acknowledge your strengths and weaknesses. And as you acknowledge your strengths and weaknesses, i-acknowledge mo din yung mga strengths and weaknesses ng mga parents mo, ng mga students mo. It's only understanding what the situation is, hindi lang na sa'yo, kundi pati ng parents and students mo, makakagawa ka ng appropriate remedy or solution to face the problem. Thus, sabi nga sa slide ni Sir, we have to work together and we need each other. Tapos Sir, please allow me to use your last slide. Nakalagay doon, we have to approach everything with love. And I definitely agree with that. If your intention is pure, everything becomes easy. So thank you so much. I've learned a lot from your discussion. And stay safe. Thank you po ulit.
Thank you very much, Ma'am Melanie, and Gail for a very meaningful insight. Now, at this point, I would like to call our ever committed, dedicated, forward-thinking, and a man of action, school principal to Sir Dennis T. Alex for his closing remarks.
Center, you can mention
Hello,
yung mga
good
items po na
afternoon
meron
everyone.
sa DOH.
So, papatagal ang webcast. Parang papatindi na patitindi ang mga adjective na ginagamit kapag ini-introduce ako. Lalo ako natatakot. Parang nai-stress ako. Well, anyway, once again, thank you to Brigada Eskwela team for having this kind of webcast that talagang kailangan natin sa ngayon to dahil malayo pa man ang pasukan, na-move yung pasukan, may stress na tayong lahat, no? Hindi na natin alam kung anong ating gagawin. With this kind of webcast, stress management for student, teachers, and parents, talagang malaking tulong sa ating lahat ito. Kasi nga, sabi ng slide kanina ni Sir Mallari, each one of us can give valuable insight and contribution in this present condition, in this new learning modality. Talagang, really, the parents, sana wag may stress yung mga parents dun sa magiging role nila as parent of their students or bilang magulang ng kanilang kanilang mga anak. Huwag sana silang ma-stress because what is very, very important in this new platform in education is your support, tama ang sabi ni Sir Angelo kanina, your support and your guidance to your students or to your learners. Kasi sabi ko rin, gaya na sinabi ko before, this is not a sole responsibility of the learner, the sole responsibility of the parents, and it's sole responsibility of the teacher. But this is a collaborative effort of the three, the teachers, the students, and the parents. So, lagi natin tatandaan dito sa haharapin nating new normal or new setup in education. Yes, there's break pains. Talagang kailangan nating makipag-collaborate. Sabi nga kanina, dun sa mga parent na uneducated or hindi alam yung content ng curriculum, huwag silang matakot, huwag silang ma-stress. Kasi nga, gaya ng sinasabi, huwag mahihiyang magtanong, huwag mahihiyang makipag-collaborate sa other parents, at yung pagiging partners ninyo sa eskwelahan is really very, very important. So, at this point also, I would like to thank our guest speaker, Mr. Angelo B. Mallari, for sharing your expertise and sharing your knowledge on how to handle stress management or how to handle stress of our students, teachers, and parents. Again, isa na namang makabuluhang webcast ang inihatid sa atin ng Brigada Eskwela. Sa mga magulang po, patuloy po lang natin suportahan ang ating paaralan sa kanilang mga gawain, sa ating mga gawain, ating mga activities. At ang alam po naman natin na ang lahat ng ito ay para sa ating mga mag-aaral. Again po, maraming salamat po at isang magandang hapon sa ating lahat.
Thank you very much, Sir Alex. And once again, thank you very much, Sir Angelo Mallari, our speaker for today's webcast. So I will now turn you to Sir Romel Avalle for the announcement. So this has been Mrs. Pamela P. Solomon. Thanks again for joining us today. Sir Romel?
Yes, hello. Magandang buhay. Maulang na hapon sa lahat. Maraming salamat po muna sa ating group in charge or subject group na in charge ngayon, ang language group. And of course, once again, thank you sa ating speaker na si Mr. Angelo B. Mallari from Xavier School of San Juan. And of course, hindi magiging successful ang webcast na ito kung wala ang kooperasyon ng mga magulang, guro, aking mga kasamang guro, and of course, ng aming mga Ruizian students. And of course, lahat ng mga nanonood ngayon ng ating FB Live. Shoutout rin. Kanina nag-shoutout si Gail. Ako mag-shoutout na rin. Shoutout po sa napaka-supportive namin na PSDS na bumati kanina, Ma'am Diana Maridagli. And sa PSDS in charge ngayon ng San Lorenzo Luis Senior High School, Ma'am Marietta Limbo, Dr. Marietta Limbo, magandang hapon po sa inyong lahat. So, ayan, para po sa ating mga announcement, kung mapapansin po natin, nakatapos na tayo po ng siyam na webcast. But, ayan, para sa surprise, meron po tayong additional webcast na mangyayari sa darating na August 25, 2020. Mark your calendar. That is Tuesday po. No? Tuesday, we will talk about child protection policy in the midst of new normal. Ang ating pong speaker dyan ay walang iba kundi ang ating guidance advocate ng San Lorenzo Luis Senior High School, Mr. Julio Cesar Napalyatan. Okay? Next po, okay. So, announcement naman, isa sa mga activity natin ngayon, ngayong buwan ng wika, as initiated by Supreme Student Government of San Lorenzo Luis Senior High School, ang activity na tinatawag na Makataan, Timpalak Bigkasan mula August 17, nag-start na pala ito nung Monday hanggang Friday, August 21, 2020. So para malaman pa ang ibang detalye patungkol sa nasabing activity, mangyari lamang pong bisitahin ang FB page ng San Lorenzo Luis Senior High School Supreme Student Government. Of course, pakisuportahan pa rin po ang ating Project KKK, Project Kaligtasan, Kaalaman at Kalinisan. And of course, under the Project Kaalaman, we have the Project PME, papel mo, module ng estudyante ko. So sa mga nais pa pong magbigay ng donasyon ng mga A4 bond papers na magagamit po natin para sa pagprint po ng module ng ating mga estudyanteng Ruizians, mangyari lamang pong makipag-ugnayan sa mga pangalan at FB page po na makikita nyo po ngayon sa inyong mga screen. Okay po, so in relation to our projects, so syempre, pasalamatan na natin at ito na ang pagkakataon ko na i-shout out ang ating mga sponsors katulad ng Apex Club of Pasig, ICCT Cainta, Loris SD Ambrosio of Axel Incorporation, the City Government of Pasig. Kung madadaan kayo sa San Lorenzo, napakaganda na ngayon ng ating building. Bagong pintura at bago yung mga lighting doon. No, Ma'am Presi B. Bendic, Virginia R. Arceo, anonymous sponsor from Makati, Leonardo Guevara Jr., Roel Padernal, yung ating mga SPTA, Miss Briones, Miss Grico, Miss Miranda, and Miss Togway. Sino pa ba? Marami yan. Emerlinda Evangelista and family, Charlie Odavar and family, yung aking classmate na ngayon ay DJ na sa 102.7 Star FM, DJ Antonio Lambada, Sabrina Jane Alfabeto, Michelle Verses, Gio and Neo Guillermo, Virgilio Lim, Russell San Diego, Jebel A. Hevania, Mr. and Mrs. Takegawa, Ronald F. Aco, Brabante family, Mr. and Mrs. Dennis Cadayong. Sino pa direct? Ayan. Lee Margaret Malyares, Marie Dison, Kate Pamdid, Maylin Bustamante, Jelos Mindoro Rice Camp, Jing Ona Panelo, La Arnie Limson, yung nag-donate ng 1,200 learning packets, Ma'am Postranos BFF, Maricel Dorana, Ricos Grill, Miss Solita Ona, Legion of Mary Santa Lucia, Cian Marlo Santos, Councilor Cory Raimundo. Sino pa? Yung aking mga estudyante nung ako'y nasa private school pa, sina Timothy, Carla, Dwayne, Ella, and Alia Sir Nicola, isa sa ating mga alumni. Erum family, Elenita Celajes and family, Dan and Greg of Dan Carlos Kitchen, Councilor Ori Ropisan, Jidel Velasquez, ang ating former Vice President ng SSG na nagbigay ng A4 bond paper, Samantha Nicole De Castro, Tax as IT, Somerset Neighbors, Kagawad Gloria Lawalhati. Sino pa po? Kaloy and Lina Reyes, Piwi Garcia and Max Samantok, Barangay Captain, o yung ating kapitana, Sheila Marie A. De Asis, Gender and Development Office of the City Government of Pasig, Ryan Patrick G. Regalado, Rosel Morado, Anonymous, o di ba, international from USA, meron tayong mga partners from USA, Miss Lynette and John J. Aitken, Jeff and Sandra Mainit of Jecasa Sportswear, Ma'am Senaida Santos Biason, Brother Abet and Sister Josie Felix, Sherry May Medina, Bea Valdez, yan mga alumni natin yan. Of course, Emmanuel Denosta and friends, Remy A. De Leon and family, Eileen Lara, Marilu Talibugen. Of course, once again, the Unified Products and Services and the Jecasa Sportswear. Mula po sa kaibuturan ng aming mga puso, maraming salamat po. And of course, ang hinihintay ng lahat to receive our certificate, please answer the evaluation link na makikita po ninyo ngayon sa inyong mga screen. Okay, so muli po, maraming salamat sa inyong patuloy na pagsuporta sa director ng ating Ruizian Webcast mula Ruizian Webcast number 1. Ayan, papasukin na natin lahat, Direk Rona, para masaya tayo. Ayan. Hello, Direk. Salamat. Gail. Hello. Yung ating speaker ngayon, Sir Angelo. Thank you ulit. Ayan. Hi, sir. Ma'am Fam. Hello. Ayun, may assistant si Ma'am Fam. Sumisilip-silip. Hello, Sir Resty. Thank you. Okay, si Direk nahihiya ata. Ayan. So magkita-kita po muli tayo sa darating na Tuesday. This has been San Lorenzo Ruiz Senior High School Ruizian Webcast number 9. To God be the glory. God bless po sa atin lahat. Stay home. Keep safe. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you. Sir Angelo.
pagsapit ng bagong umaga. Mga matang iyong imulat na, bumangon sa mulat ng bagong pag-asa. Dapat pisig at magtulong-tulong na taon-taon tayong magkasama. Mga guro't magulang ka-eskwela, dala-dala ang iba't ibang data, daan patungo sa pagkakaisa. Tara na, sumama ka na, tayo na sa brigada eskwela. Tara na, tayo na, tayo na't magbayanihan tungo sa maunlad na paaralan. Magbayanihan para sa kalidad na edukasyon. Tara na, sumama ka na, tayo na sa brigada eskwela. Tara na, tayo na, halina't magbayanihan tungo sa maunlad na paaralan. Magbayanihan para sa kalidad na edukasyon. Buhayin ang halaman, kulayan ng mga pader, muling ibalik ang ganda, ibalik ang sigla. Magbayanihan, 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 tayo magkaisa sa darating na brigada eskwela.